That's right, JK Live, powered by Telcom. Telcom, moving with you in the studio today. Two CSs, James Macharia, CS Transportation, Najib Balala, CS Tourism, talking about this game changer. We're all talking about Kenya Airways non-stop. Nairobi, New York, JKIA to JFK. Have dinner in Nairobi, breakfast in New York, and coming back, lunch in New York, breakfast in Nairobi. Goodness gracious me. So was there a point, C.S. Macharia, where it was, you know, you guys were thinking, you know what, we may not get this okay? Because, you know, these people are demanding so much, and they did demand a lot.
It's true. If we didn't have the commitment and the perseverance, I think anybody who did not have the strength to persevere, it was a bit challenging. Yeah. Because you see, we started with, like, say, 200 issues. So we went through the tech checklist, took time, cleared it, then they'll come and audit. And then another 100 emerges. Yeah? So in the end, we had to clear between 400 and 500 issues. But the good thing is that both teams, ourselves, and Federal Aviation Administration of the US, the Transportation Safety Authority of the US, we are all very committed to one goal. And let me also take this opportunity to thank, I think, the outgoing ambassador, Robert Godek. He was actually very, very committed. Jointly, we work together. They give a lot of resources, support, you know, technical support. And that's why we got where we are today. Yeah. Only last year when, like I said, in February, we got this clearance by the FAA as a country. And then we started, of course, getting KQ to be given traffic rights. They had to inspect the equipment of KQ. Fortunately, KQ has got very modern aircraft, the Dreamliners. Yeah? So because of all that, it added up as a positive outcome. But it required commitment and perseverance. Yeah. Yes.
C.S. Balala, you know, you're probably talking to your colleagues across the region. Are they a little jealous of you guys, us guys, getting this? They must be saying, you know what, you know, it's not fair. Why you guys?
It's natural. So what do you expect? I mean, it happens in human beings, yes, but also competition about countries, which is good. That's why when I look at James, when he says they went through 400-500 items to clear, eventually it became good for Kenya. Because if they talk about security, it's not only good for America, but good for us. If you talk about everything, it was good for us. So even this is good for us, but it's good for the region. So colleagues, definitely, they will support it. They will. They also, let me tell you, if I call a meeting to come to Nairobi for my colleagues within the region, they will jump the next flight to come to Nairobi. Because Nairobi is a vibrant, beautiful, party city. Yeah. And it has all what everybody wants. So people, despite we have all this as humans, but definitely Nairobi is where things happen.
Yeah, they call us the London or the New York of the region.
And investors as well, because Jeff, you know, tourists, very, 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 very important, because they're also investors in our country. But also, you find there are now investors who are coming here. They want to go to Turkana to invest in the oil fields. So we have to, if you like, devolve the aviation system, whereby we have Jomo Kenyatta Airport. But because the country has got Cat 1 status as a country, now we can go to Turkana, we can go to Nyeri, we can go to Marindi, you know, all these places, because the entire system has been upgraded and we've been given this Category 1 status. But FDI, going forward, I think investors will have coming here. Even already, as you know, the American companies who are trying to set up headquarters in Nairobi. We have been negotiating, as you know, with this company from the US to do this road from Mombasa to Nairobi.
That's right, yes.
You know, the interest has all of a sudden been enhanced in terms of the investment environment. And this will be good for this country, for posterity.
What do the folks think of JKIA as an airport? Does it compare like Oliver Tambo or the one in Egypt? Is it comparable?
Clearly, and frankly, we have to do a lot more, because see, this airport was done in the 1970s when the traffic was low. Now we are transiting or ferrying about 7 million people, but with this, we plan to accommodate about 12 million people. Because of that, we have put plans in place to do what we call Terminal B, Terminal C, and Terminal D, a complete rehabilitation to international standards. Because see, a few years ago we did what we call Terminal 1A, arrivals, Terminal 1A departures.
Yeah.
That's one dedicated to KQ and KLM. Very, very modern, but we require the same, if you like, standard across the entire airport. That's why we got plans to do B, C, and D to move the traffic from 7 million to 12 million in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the other thing you always talk about, CS Balala, is conferencing. Nairobi has a conferencing hub. I was in Kigali recently, and I'm not comparing us to them, but they've really done well with their conferencing facilities.
Yeah.
Can we maintain or capitalize on that?
Well, the fact is that we need a brand new conference center.
Yeah.
State of the art, better than Kigali, better than Cape Town, better than Durban, because already we are an aviation hub, we are tourist hub for the region, now with KQ going to crown it all, but definitely we need a convention center, a proper state of the art. Despite that, KICC has not done bad. 45 years old, it has stood strong. We need to do a lot on it. We need to do some refurbishment, even temporary. We need to expand the space. We are working on a model by next year. We'll have a prefab facility on the grounds of Comesa grounds, which will carry almost 15 to 17,000 people.
Whoa.
So we are doing it. I've just come from a conference in London on illegal wildlife trade. Everything in that big conference, huge conference, it was prefab. Why can't we do it here? So we're just working on the financing. Hopefully by next year, this time, we'll have this place ready and up and running. And we'll be able to accommodate bigger than what is happening in Kigali.
Yeah, because Kigali has, let's face it, they've done well with their conferencing.
Yeah. Quite well, yes. And that's why, like I said earlier, this infrastructure support, because CS Balala does not want to have guests coming to Jomo Kenyatta Airport. Then they go to a conference, they are complaining they got stuck for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we like to actually do this harmoniously,
integrated system.
Harmoniously together to make sure that we look at the entire package.
Yeah.
Because even James here, we have to work as a team and plan together. A client coming at Jomo Kenyatta is not going to be a Jomo Kenyatta Airport or James Macharia's affair. It's all of us, because that client will badmouth us, will complain about the country from the airport till the time he goes or she goes back. So all that's why the president has appointed 3 ministers to oversee how do we create seamless efficiency at Jomo Kenyatta International. We have not reached there, but definitely there have been major improvement. Over 1,200 employees of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport have gone through Utalii College training on customer care. So people have gone through those trainings. People are much better. I was very impressed. Just recently I was traveling, and the immigration officer is asking the guy, "Did you enjoy your stay?" Wow. Without him realizing, I'm standing behind. Wow. I was very impressed with that immigration officer. Yes. So these are the things will come slowly. It's a culture we are changing at the airport. It's not going to be easy, but we are committed to make it happen.
Yeah. Right. CS Balala just mentioned something that, this man or something like this would not have happened had it not been for leadership.
Quite.
You mentioned if it was anywhere else or some other administration, probably wouldn't have happened. But, let's give credit where it's due. It's about the leadership.
In fact, here,
certainly.
Let's not take these things for granted. We think it's just SGR. It has happened because it has happened. It takes years to happen. And due respect goes to President Uhuru Kenyatta. He committed himself on getting SGR happening. Now this KQ, he's the one who given us the leadership from the front. The airport issues and many other issues, issue of electricity coming down, the power coming down, the issue of generation of energy, the issue of addressing the issue of maize. All this is leadership from the front. And that is what we take it sometimes for granted.
Yeah, and it's very clear because, you see, the kind of investments we've made, they are very capital intensive. Yeah. They also are very service driven. And if you don't have capital, if you don't have people who are committed in terms of service, it will not happen. Our president has been very hands-on. So each time we go to the airport, he needs to know what has happened. Each time we have an issue, he wants to know what happens. And we have kept that kind of contact to make sure that if there's an issue to do with resources, he does help us in terms of, if there are issues to do with the general government coordination, he's very much on top of it. And I'll give you an example. Some 2 weeks ago, there's a truck which caught fire somewhere near Kenya Pipeline. I think it was reported in the media.
Yes.
Smoke coming up.
Yes.
You see, the kind of responsiveness which we have in government, within minutes, we had found out what had happened. And the president was in the know. Yeah? It is that detailed that we don't take anything for granted. Right. And because of the history we've had in this country,
yes,
the airport one time caught fire and so forth. So because of that, we learned our lessons. So anything small, we don't take for granted. That's why occasionally the 3 CSs, CS Balala, CS Macharia, myself, we go to the airport 5 a.m. in the morning to check what is happening.
Spot check.
Yeah. Spot check, unannounced.
Wow.
Yes, and that helps a lot because people are now having to cultural change in terms of service.
Yeah.
Yes.
CS Balala, if God keeps us going for the next 10 years, let's start 10. How different will this place be in terms of infrastructure, all that stuff you talk about?
I was talking to a friend this weekend. I said, at our generation, the people who will enjoy it most is maybe our children or grandchildren. Because we see the plans. The plans are there, are exciting. We are connected in the internet. The train of railway, if you see what we have, we already have approval from Lamu to Kisumu. Probably we will see it happening, but the people who will enjoy it most will be that younger generation. But those are the ones who will want to travel, will take the risk, will backpack and travel. But that is, so whenever I see friends overseas and Kenyans who are living overseas, they're telling me, when would I come back? I said, if you're not coming back now, then when you come back, it will be too late.
And you can enjoy these things, in fact, without spreading it over time. Because, you know, governments are formed 5 years, then another 5 years. But in some of these projects, they take more than 10 years to complete, as you may have seen. But we want to make sure that we are doing it for the future of this country. That's why even in future, something more important, we shall be doing this complete ring road around Nairobi. Now it's already ringed up, actually, because we have the southern bypass. So tourists coming from Jomo Kenyatta, they can go to Rift Valley without having come through Nairobi City. Correct. We are doing this one from Ebakasi to Roiro to Village Market. The last link was that link from Village Market to the
ABC.
To the Nairobi Nakuru Highway.
Wayaki Way.
It's called Western Bypass from Ruaka to the highway. Correct. Already we signed that contract now, so construction will start very soon. So in future, Jeff, you don't have to go through the city if you don't have to. Right. So the conference guests can decide to go to Naivasha, to have their conferences there, or Rift Valley Lounge or wherever, without having to go to the city. Yeah. That is what will make it enjoyable.
You're saying Koinange Street will be obsolete?
No, it will still be there.
And it's important, it's going to work more actively, maybe. But Jeff here, you see, when we had the African Hotel Investment Forum 2 weeks ago, we had 670 people in the hospitality who arrived into Kenya to look at opportunity, where do we invest in the hotel industry. We had top 10 hotel chains in the world whose CEOs were here, from Hilton, Radisson Blu, JW Marriott, Accor, all of them were here, and all of them are saying, okay, Nairobi has changed from just 2 years ago, from infrastructure. And now they are looking, he says, Minister, are there hotels we can partner with in Naivasha? Are there hotels in Kisumu? I can tell you, already signed deals have done for Kisumu, and signed deals have done for Mombasa. These big chains already have signed. By 2020, 2021, you see the brands spreading all over the country. Because without those brands, we will not be in the international map of hospitality. And that's why we held this African Hotel Investment Forum 2 weeks ago. Highly successful. And this is what's going to put Kenya in the map, infrastructure, and these investments are going to spread outside Nairobi. Because Nairobi needs to be just the nucleus, and then everything moves out into the other areas of the country.
So this flight coming back to the flight.
Yes.
It will be the icing on the cake because, like it's been said, it's about now taking Kenya to America. That's what it is. You've been there, you've seen the Kenyans in Atlanta, Georgia, Washington.
Yes.
Now they'll come to know there is a country called Kenya. Even Americans who did not know, they will see the Kenyan flag in the US. Just like Dubai has become popular, just because of Emirates connecting, visitors to Dubai. The same thing will happen to this country. Now people will be seeing and saying, yeah, that airline goes where? Goes to Kenya. And they would like to try. That's what will make the difference. Yeah. Yes.
And then Jeff, when we are spreading the infrastructure, we want our CBD to be vibrant. That's why we are investing in this prefab in the CBD, so that the hotels and the businesses around, and the CBD is going to be expanded. And that's why we are working in Nairobi's regeneration. How do we make Westlands a 24-hour economy? So we put up the roads, their lighting, CCTVs, their beautification programs on flower beds. Yeah, it's a walking destination rather of cars and borders. So all this, the county and ourselves are designing the design for Westlands. Very soon we'll make it public, so that we can clear Westlands, make it the entertainment city, and we connect it from Westlands to Museum Hill, to Boulevard, to Norfolk, down to Harambee Avenue. That entire area becomes the CBD.
Wow.
So that Nairobi is expanding rather of concentrating in one area and leave the other area. No, we want any successful city, the CBD must be vibrant, must be secured, must be neat and clean. And that's exactly what we are developing in Nairobi regeneration.
You know, I just thought about this just now. Who would have ever thought that we would make a big hole inside the Ngong Hills? Who would ever have thought? And it's working.
It's complete.
It's
by
complete,
the way.
correct.
7.5 kilometers.
In the tunnel?
In the tunnel. Under there.
The largest in Africa, the longest in Africa.
Yes. And it's done. And in fact, water is coming from the tunnel. Now we are serving the Maasais in Kajiado and Ngong with water coming from the tunnel. So they are all benefiting as well.
Yeah.
And then from there, Naivasha, of course, industrial parks of Naivasha, special economic zones are coming up because of that. And then from there, we take it to Narok, Bomet, Nyamira, Kisumu. So the entire country is linked up, on top of the LAPSSET corridor, which we are doing from Lamu, Isiolo, Nakadok, Southern Sudan, and to Moyale in Ethiopia. So you can see the entire country is moving together.
Yeah.
Because what we don't want is concentrate development in just one area.
Right.
It must be spread out across the country.
Gentlemen, we've got a couple of minutes left. I want some closing words from each of you, starting with you, CS Balala. Closing thoughts going forward with everything that's happening.
Well, we have a beautiful country, and I think people believe in us. Kenyans need to believe in themselves. And I think this is an opportunity, using Kenya Airways to promote Kenya and bringing Kenya to the world. Yeah, and using Kenya Airways, and I have a lot of respect for Kenya Airways, that it can be the mode of transportation for the world to come to Kenya. So it's not just about tourism, it's about putting Kenya at the table where the international audience is waiting, both for tourism, industry, and produce. And that's exactly what we need to promote this country.
Absolutely. We're at the table of men now. We've reached to Mefika.
We are not boys anymore.
CS Macharia.
I can't wait to see this thing happen because, one, we've waited for 10 years, but now because it's happening, I can't wait to see the benefits to Kenyans in the future. I think we have a great potential to move into the next level of development, whereby we have all it takes. Beautiful country, good location, well-educated people, good leadership. That's what we need to continue in the next 10, 30, 50 years. With that, we shall be comparing ourselves with the best in the next few years.
Yeah, I can't wait for our children to grow up.
Yes, indeed.
But you know, after all, America was built in the 1800s. We forget these things, right? And people are benefiting in this century, or in the last century. So it's okay, there's time.
Yes, indeed.
There's time. We're doing all right.
But we're going to enjoy it before we go.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. CS James Macharia, Transportation, CS Najib Balala, Tourism, talking about changes that are making this country, literally putting this country on the global map. beginning with that non-stop flight from Nairobi to New York, from JKIA to JFK. I tell you folks, this one is a game changer any way you look at it. Thanks so much for being a part of JK Live. As always, remember those 3 letters on the keyboard that follow each other, JKL, every Wednesday, 9 p.m. right here on Citizen Television. Keep tweeting at Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag, as always, JK Live. JK Live, powered by Telcom. Telcom, moving with you. Good night, good luck, and God bless the pride of Africa.